I decided to write Radical Acceptance when I realized my own suffering of how often I was unkind to myself. I was harsh, I was critical, whether it had to do with being a sister or a friend, or critical of myself for overeating, critical of myself for not being a good enough person. And so I started to learn to meditate and realize that if I learn to come into the present moment and offer kindness, if I could bring some self-compassion, it loosened that habit of self-hatred, really. And so I wrote the book when I started understanding more and more how meditation could directly decondition self-aversion. And in the book I have many, many stories of not only my own healing, really, becoming really very much more self-compassionate, but also people that are struggling with fear and how radical acceptance of the fear in their body actually help them discover a place of balance and presence and peace that they could be with what was happening in their lives. People struggling with grief and loss, and how radical acceptance allowed them to discover the love that was underneath the grief. People struggling with shame that could actually begin to truly trust their goodness. So those are the type of stories that really help to give an idea of how we can really come home in the present moment and not be at war with our life. I think of Radical Acceptance as a book really for all of us who are wanting to heal our hearts and live fully and love fully. We don't have to be on a particular spiritual path. It really is for anybody that is aware that there are parts of their being that need attention. You know, I sometimes think of it that we're all in a trance to some degree. And by trance, that we live on automatic, we're on our way somewhere else, we're not fully true to ourselves. And there's a palliative caregiver who worked with tens of thousands of people when they were dying. And she said that the greatest regret of the dying is, I didn't live true to myself. I lived according to the expectations of others. I lived according to my own internalized shoulds, but I didn't live true to my heart. And so I think we have a deep longing to really live true to our hearts and be all that we can be, to really live from our love and our heart and not hold back. And so in Radical Acceptance, that's the invitation. The invitation is to learn how to pay attention in a way that we can touch the deepest wisdom in us and the deepest capacity for love and really live it fully. And in a moment of meditation, when you've quieted the trance of the busyness of the mind, and you've really come home into your heart and your being, that is the gift. There's a sense of, oh, I'm being true to myself. There's a sense of openness, there's a sense of love, and there's a sense of stillness where you know you're really home.